Yeah. And I don't know, it's just when he did that, when he reached out, and I'm like thinking, okay, so another really crazy difference between what I've been experiencing all of my life professionally and now is that like now I'm being rewarded with a job for honestly speaking from my heart about something, and that's just so validating. It's just so nice because there's so much about where I'm coming from that, you have to be appropriate all the time. And, God forbid you slip with the wrong word or anything, and so people are very protective of that. And they want to keep you on a leash. And it was great. It's just great that I took the jump. I tried, I posted like, what the hell, what's worse that's going to happen. And then I end up getting a job out of it. It was pretty awesome. We don't have, I don't think we know what to do other than, like we go to college, we get our certificate. My brother said to me one time, I said something a long time ago about wanting to look into what else I was qualified for. And he's like, what are you qualified for other than like running a photocopier? And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? So that whole transferable skills thing, it was like, do you go back and get another degree? I think it's hard for a lot of us to take that jump and shift into something else because there's a lot of security in education. Like you pretty much are guaranteed you're gonna have your job for life. I mean, unless you really, really super screw up or something really bad happens with the economy, you're solid with the pension and all that. So like there's a lot of fear, I think. But when I heard about Salesforce, I was on the Choose FI podcast, and then it just like heard it again, and thought, well, I might as well check it out because I teach math, and I'm the data guru at school, like I'm the one who enjoys the spreadsheets, and I'll make a mail merge and I'll figure, all this stuff out. So starting to play around with it was kind of interesting and fun. And then January, I was like, I'm just going to go ahead and go for it and dive in. And so glad that I did. But like to be able to shift careers and have any hope of matching a salary at 24 years into the system without having to get another degree is just amazing. Yeah, I found out about it, I think, from an email blast from Bradley Rice. Like I don't know how we got picked to receive these, if it was just because we were in the Salesforce and Trailhead or what. But I got an email, and then I got an email again, like a little bit later. And I looked into it, and the cost was just like, I'm not in a position to commit that money. And so I tried to do it myself. In fact, I think in the email exchange, they asked why. And I wrote back and said, it's the cost right now. Like I'm not willing to commit that kind of money. And I feel like I can do this myself. Like I feel like I can learn this stuff myself. And they were great. They were really respectful of that and whatever you need. And there are a lot of people who do it that way. Sorry about that. There's a lot of people who do it that way. And then what ended up happening was I failed the test. So, and I failed miserably, and I'm studying for this, and I'm getting like 85s on these practice tests, and I'm thinking I got this. And I took the test, and probably like, I don't know, half an hour into it or so, I just hit a wall, and it was all like a different language. I'm reading these questions, like, I don't know what you're asking me. I lost it completely. And I think I did the numbers. I think I got like a 47. And I thought, this is how, I've never failed anything like that before in my life. So I think I just got to a point of thinking, maybe I just need to do this a different way and I need help. Like, so I went ahead, and I mean, it took some convincing to my family, like to saying to my wife, like, I think this is an investment. We're going to put this money in, but I think we're going to make it back. And because I did believe I could do it. I just needed my approach wasn't working. So I signed on and immediately got into a study group, and right away, like, I don't even know if as a study group, we really knew what we were doing completely. But it was just so nice to bounce questions off each other and to have people, you don't know an answer to something, or to finally know, like be the one to know the answer to something and say, oh, I remember seeing this, and just communicating and having a network of support. But that was one of the most attractive things from the get-go with Trailhead, even just the amount of community support that is available for almost anything that you need at any point in time. There's nothing negative. Everything's positive. Everyone's going to lift you up. that's also a completely foreign environment for me professionally. The LinkedIn, that changed everything. The profile picture, the tools that were there for setting up your profile, the suggestions that were made following that completely changed the game. And I had read other people saying that, you know, like once they changed their LinkedIn and started following the rules, like not the rules, but, you know, following the guidelines that were given to us, that they all of a sudden were getting noticed. And that's what happened for me. So the LinkedIn resources, the study group, and then after getting certified, the volunteer project was, I think, an incredible experience. I don't think we can, I think I said it maybe to my group in the last day, like I feel like it was the kind of thing that as time goes on, I'm going to continue to realize what we got out of it. Because for a lot of us, it's the first time working remote like that. It's the first time trying to work as a team from different parts of the country. Like we had one member in Canada, one in Texas, you know, we're like all over the place, different life things going on. But that volunteer project gave me, I think, the first glimpse in what I need to kind of keep an eye out for whenever I start my actual paid job, because now I kind of caught on to, in a real safe way, like what were my challenges and what did I feel like I was good at and what did I get trapped, you know, where would I make maybe different changes. I came across another person. So my job is going to involve Salesforce, but also more so it's going to be HubSpot. So I had to learn HubSpot like in a week, which was, you know, it was very cursory, but everything I knew from Salesforce was very easily translatable to HubSpot. It was like, I don't know if this is bad, but I call it like Salesforce for kids. It was just like, you know, it's less intense. It's, you know, it was kind of easier to maneuver, but I posted something, or I came across a woman on LinkedIn who came out of Talent Stacker. She also posted something about HubSpot. So we connected and we started a group in LinkedIn for Talent Stacker people who are going to have to use HubSpot, because we figured we have this network. We know now how to support each other through Salesforce. We're not abandoning Salesforce. I still want to improve my certifications. I still want to grow in that program. I'm still looking forward. But at the same time, why not leverage that same network for supporting each other through another technology that we need to learn? So we have now like 4 or 5 people in that group. So I guess my long-winded answer to that is, what surprised me is I think it's going to be I see it like being pretty much a lifelong thing. Like we now have the best, like what the best piece of college, right? Like it's without the worst piece of college. We don't have the tuition, we don't have the debt, but we have people that we learned with that we now are out in the real world with, and we are able to continue that relationship and continue networking and continue to support each other long after passing that test. And it's been a beautiful thing. And it makes me feel so much less afraid of whatever challenges we're going to have, because I have learned through this program that there's always going to be someone else there who's willing to, you know, give advice or help me through something, or say like, yeah, I've been there, you know, and this is what's going on. So it's just that the community part of it. I don't know why I'm surprised, because like even with Trailhead, I felt like there was a strong community, but just with this, it's like, yeah, maybe it sounds cheesy, but it is like a family, you know, it really does have, there's a tight knit thing there, and there's a lot of support you get from each other. And I don't think I would have had any of that. I feel bad for the people who aren't in Talent Stacker, because it's like it's the intangibles you're really missing out on too. It was the Bradley Rice hidden market. Absolutely. So that's the stuff that blew me away. Like, you read one thing saying like, make sure you're interacting on LinkedIn, make sure you're, you know, commenting. And there was a post someone had made. I ended up going back and taking a screenshot of it so I could remember what it was that I had written, you know, and keep it in mind. But someone had made a post about the entry-level position for people coming into a second career and with Salesforce. And I commented on there, and I took it off at first, you know, and I thought, I don't know if I'm going to do this, because I tend to get myself in trouble by being me. So I'm just guarded with that. I don't know how many times I've left Facebook because, you know, someone at work found out I complained about whatever. So I I was like, forget it. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to post it. So I posted something basically saying like, it stings a little bit to be called entry level when you have 2 decades of work behind you and you have these transferable skills. And I get that I'm coming in on the ground floor with something, but I also have like a lot of wisdom that I bring to the job that someone fresh out of school might not. And the motivation to really kick ass at what I'm doing, you know, and that's basically how I said it. And here I get a message from this guy saying, you know, we've had a lot of success with X teachers. Would you like to have a conversation? And I'm like, well, sure. And I look him up because, you know, I'm like, I don't know. So I look this guy up and I'm like, he's the CEO of a company. And I'm like, why is this dude contacting me? Like, doesn't he have like little minions who can do this for him, you know? So I wrote back, I'm like, yeah, absolutely. And within half an hour, I had the first chat scheduled with his head of HR. And that's how it went. Like, that was it. I had a conversation with her. It sounded like a good fit. I moved on to a second interview. They moved me on to the technical interview, which was a breeze for the most part, because once I learned what I was doing with HubSpot, it was putting together a presentation. And when I was getting nervous, I'm saying to myself, Jamie, just teach. That's all you're just teaching. It's the same thing you've been doing, but you don't have to worry about, you know, someone throwing something at someone else. Like, you could just teach. So, and that's how it happened. So when they said to me, and when the CEO said something to me in the last interview, or no, someone else had said to me, you know, how did you find us? I'm like, you found me. You know, I didn't apply for this job. It fell into my lap and it feels really good. Like, it feels like a really good fit. I had recruiters starting to pop up after I made my changes on LinkedIn. And so I did have a couple of conversations there that might have gone down a certain path, but something went wrong or a job got frozen, you know, different things had happened. But this one just sort of, it worked